Hello and welcome. I am Shahid Hussain Sumro, the founder of PAKSTUDY.XYZ. In today's lecture, we will explore the expansion of East India Company. The East India Company was a powerful commercial enterprise that played a pivotal role in shaping the geopolitical landscape of South Asia during the 17th and 18th century. In this lecture, we shall explore the company's history and its remarkable expansion across the region. From humble beginning as a trading venture, the East India Company gradually evolved into a dominant force, securing exclusive trading rights and establishing a vast administrative system in India. Its economic influence translated into political power as the company acquired control over various territories, often at the expense of local rulers and competing European powers. This remarkable rise of the East India Company is a testament to the interplay between economic interest, political ambition, and the complex dynamics of power in the Indian subcontinent. The formation and early expansion of East India Company, building upon the previous slides of the East India Company's rise, this segment will explore into the company's formative years and its initial forays into the Indian subcontinent. The East India Company was founded in 1600 by a group of English merchants who were granted a royal charter by the Queen Elizabeth I to engage in trade in East Indies. This marked the beginning of the company's expansionist odyssey as it gradually established a strong commercial presence in the region. Over the following decades, the company expanded its reach, setting up trading outposts and securing exclusive trading rights. This allowed the company to become a dominant force in the Indian market, solidifying its economic influence. As the company's commercial interest grew, it also began to acquire political power, gaining control over various territories and establishing a vast administrative system in India. This transition from a purely commercial enterprise to a quasi-governmental entity would have far-reaching implications, setting the stage for company's eventual rise to prominence as a colonial power. The company's first conquests begin building up on the earlier foundation of the East India Company's formation and initial expansion. The company's journey in India continued with a series of strategic acquisitions and milestones that solidifies its presence in region. In 1612, the company established a trading post in the city of Surat, located on western coast of India. This foothold in the lucrative spice trade allowed the company to gain a strong economic foothold in the region. The following year, in 1615, the company obtained a royal charter from King James I, officially establishing the East India Company and granting its exclusive right to trade in the East Indies. The expansions continued in 1639 with the acquisition of the town of Madras, where it built Fort St. George. transforming it into a major trading center. Moving forward in 1651, the company gained control of the Hooghly River in the Bengal, a strategic waterway that proved crucial for the company's trade and transportation activities. Finally, in 1668, the company acquired the island of Bombay from Portuguese, further cementing its presence on the coast of India. These conquests and strategic acquisition laid the groundwork for the East India Company's growing dominance in the region, setting the stage for its expansion into the Deccan and the challenges they lay ahead. Expansion into the Deccan, building on the company's earlier successes in the establishing trading posts and gaining control of strategic locations along the Indian coast, that the East India Company's expansion into the Deccan region represented a significant steps in its ambition to extend its influence across the subcontinent. The Deccan, situated in the southern part of India, presented both opportunities and challenges for the company. Its fertile land, having trade networks and political fragmentation, made it a tempting target for the company's expansion agenda. However, the region was also home to powerful local rulers and dynasties who built furiously resist the company's attempts to assert its dominance. Despite these obstacles, the company persevered, engaging in a series of military campaigns and the diplomatic maneuvers to gradually gain a foothold in the Deccan. This process was marked by both victories and setbacks as the company navigated the complex web of regional politics and alliances. The Battle of Plassey would prove to be a turning point in the company's ambition, setting the stage for its eventual rise to become the dominant power in the subcontinent. So, in the Battle of Plassey, building as we discussed earlier, the company's expansion into the Deccan region, the next major milestone in the company's rise in India was the Battle of Plassey. As the historian John Carey notes, this 1757 battle was a decisive event that marked the beginning of the British rule in the Indian subcontinent. The Battle of Plassey was a turning point where the East India Company decisively defeated the Nawab of Bengal, Sirajud-Dowlah. This victory paved the way for the company to consolidate its control over the lucrative Bengal region, granting them the right to collect revenue and administer the province through the Diwani. In 1765, through a combination of military might, political maneuvering, and administrative reforms, the East India Company was able to firmly establish its dominance in Bengal, transforming it into an economic and strategic asset as the company continued its expansion across the Indian subcontinent. Consolidating power in the Bengal, building the previous decisive victory at the Battle of Plassey, the East India Company continued to solidify its control over the Bengal region. The company's military victory paved the way for its growing dominance in the area. In 1765, the Mughal Emperor granted the East India Company the Diwani, the right to collect revenue and administer the province of Bengal. This marked a significant shift in the company's role, transforming it from a trading enterprise to a political and administrative power in the region. The company then gradually expanded its control over Bengal, establishing a robust administrative and economic system to extract resources and wealth from the province. The various reforms and policies, such as the permanent settlement, the company was able to solidify its grip on Bengal and secure its economic and political interests. This consolidation of power in Bengal would lay the foundation for the East India Company's further expansion and the eventual establishment of British rule across the Indian subcontinent. The annexation of Oudh. As we had discussed earlier, the consolidation of power in Bengal. Now we turn our attention to the company's expansion and annexation of the neighboring region of Oudh. In 1801, the British East India Company signed a Treaty of Lucknow establishing a subsidiary alliance with the Nawab of Oudh. This alliance gave the company a significant degree of control over the Oudh's political and economic affairs. However, over the next few decades, tension between the company and the Nawab began to escalate. In 1819, the company imposed heavier financial demands on the Nawab, leading to a deterioration of the relationship. By 1855, the company had accused the Nawab of Oudh of maladministration, citing his inability to govern effectively. Seizing on this pretext, the company annexed the kingdom, effectively bringing it under direct British control. The final chapter of Oudh's annexation came in 1856 when the last Nawab, Wajid Ali Shah, was deposed and exiled to Calcutta. This marked the complete incorporation of the Oudh region into British colonial empire. The annexation of Oudh, much like the earlier events in Bengal, represents a significant milestone in East India Company's expansion and consolidation of across the company Indian subcontinent. As we move forward, we will explore the pivotal events of 1857 revolt, a major challenge to the company's rule that would have profound implications for the future of British India. The British response to the revolt of 1857, building on the previous discussions of the spread of the 1857 revolt, we will examine the British response to quell the uprising. The British response was a swift and decisive, involving the deployment of military force to suppress the rebellion. The British Indian Army, which had been a key component of East India Company's forces, played a central role in the counter-insurgency efforts. The British utilized their superior firepower, strategic positioning, and ruthless tactics to gradually regain control over the major center of the rebellion. Significant battles were fought in Delhi, Lucknow, and other key locations, where the rebels were ultimately defeated by the British forces. In addition to the military response, the British also implemented various administrative and political measures to solidify their hold over the subcontinent. This included to the dissolution of the East India Company and the establishment of direct crown rule, making a significant transition in India's colonial history. In We will further explore the long-term impact of the 1857 revolt, including the political and administrative reforms that followed, as well as the evolving relationship between Britain and India in the decades to come. Transition to crown rule. As we had discussed earlier, We explore the pivotal events of the Indian Mutiny of 1857, a major uprising against the British East India Company's rule. This revolt led to the dissolution of companies governance and transfer of power to the British Crown. The Government of India Act of 1858 marked a significant turning point as it transferred the governance of India from the East India Company to British Crown. This act signaled the end of the company's rule and the beginning of the direct British Crown control over Indian subcontinent. In 1858, Queen Victoria was formally proclaimed the Empress of India, solidifying the British Crown's authority over the region. This symbolic gesture underscored the shift in power dynamics and establishment of the British Raj, the company of direct British rule in Indian. The Imperial Assemblage in Delhi in 1857 further cemented this transition as Queen Victoria officially declared the Empress of India in grand ceremonial event. This formal proclamation of British Crown's dominion over India marked the start of a new era of colonial governance that would last until the country's eventual independence in 1947. During this period of direct control rule, India was governed through a viceroy appointed by the British government as well as a system of provincial administrations. This centralized system of governance shaped the political and administrative landscape of colonial India, setting the stage for the next phase of country's history. Moving forward, we will explore the lasting legacy of the East India Company and the broader impact of British colonial rule on India, including the profound cultural, economic, and environmental consequences that reverberated long after the end of the company's dominance. The company's legacy. We have explored the pivotal events that led to the dissolution of East India Company's rule in India and the transition to the direct British Crown governance. Now let's examine the lasting legacy of East India Company and the profound impact on the region. The East India Company established a vast trade network spanning from India to China, the Middle East, and beyond, profound shaping the global economic and the political dynamics. Its military and economic expansion ultimately led to the colonization of Indian subcontinent, setting the stage for the British Raj and the long-lasting impacts of the colonial rule. The interaction between the East India Company and the local population facilitated the exchange of goods, ideas, cultural practices, leaving an indelible mark on the region's art, architecture, and cuisine. However, company's significant and political for however, moreover, the company's exploitation of natural resources and disruption of ecosystems had far-reaching environmental and consequences, uh, foreshadowing modern debates around corporate responsibilities and sustainability. And thank you all of you for watching my video, and thank you for appreciating me. I would like you to please like, share, and subscribe this content if you like this, so that we can make more engaging content like this. You can download the PDF and Word file of this video as well in the shape of transcripts from my website PAKSTUDY.XYZ. Thank you, all of you.